Hello, GHC Youth. I hope you are having an amazing week. I hope you had an awesome Mother's Day celebration last Sunday. And I hope you've been practicing some of the spiritual disciplines to help build up and grow in your faith. Did you know that the church is important to God? In Ephesians chapter 5, he calls the church his bride, the bride of Christ. Think about that. The bride is the one person in someone's life that you choose to live your life with. You choose to live in close harmony together. You live for the rest of your life with. You love someone with all your heart. You might even sacrifice yourself to die for them, as Jesus did. The church is Christ's bride. And it's interesting to note that Jesus makes it very clear that it's the church that's his bride, not just an individual believer. Why didn't he just say, hey, you are my bride if you follow me, if you're my follower, if you're my disciple? I believe it's because the community of believers is so important to God. And the community worshiping and working together is part of God's plan. It's easy to have faith and love God alone, but it's actually a cheap kind of love when there's no one else around to love. But in a group of hundreds, maybe even thousands of other people in your local church, none of which are perfect, we must really exercise love, patience, and forgiveness to worship and serve God together. And there are often times when the people of a church can disappoint or even frustrate you. I've had many friends who felt this way over the years, and not because there wasn't powerful worship or a meaningful sermon or discipleship or fellowship, but because they saw hypocrisy. They were hurt by people in the church. They didn't think that church would have these types of sinners who would cause this kind of problems or hurt. So they left the church with bitterness. And let me tell you, most of them fell from faith, and only a small few ever came back to faith years and years later. Think about this in the Gospels. Who was it that Jesus, the great spiritual physician, who did he come to heal? The sick or those who are well? He came to heal the sick, right? And we receive that same type of spiritual healing in the church. Would it make sense to be frustrated and angry and bitter that a hospital is full of sick people? No. Sick people come in and they get treatment and they get healed. A church is full of spiritually sick people who need Jesus for healing. And we will need Jesus for the rest of our entire lives. But as some people grow stronger, they will help other sick people in the church hospital get better and grow stronger too. Now, the Bible makes no expectation that the church should be perfect and without flaws. Many of Apostle Paul's writings in the New Testament are written to churches that had major problems, far worse than what you could ever think of we would find in our church today. What does he do? He teaches those churches, he corrects them, he rebukes them, and he helps them to overcome their problems, to come together in unity under Christ. You are part of that, believe it or not. Yes, even at age 12, 16, 18, you should be receiving spiritual healing in the church, and then as you get better, helping others to be healed too. Yes, you'll encounter problems with people at church. God will want you to overcome them, though. Not run away from the church forever, not to run away to a different church where there are other problems, but to learn how to truly love one another. In our passage for today, we turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, and we're going to look at verse 12 through 14. This is the stereotypical illustration for the church. And it reads this, 1 Corinthians 12, verse 12. Just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. For we were all baptized by one Spirit as to form one body, whether Jews or Gentiles, slave or free, and we are all given the one Spirit to drink. And even so the body is not made up of one part, but of many. What is he saying here? Well, you just think of a human body, and the human body and all of its parts is similar to the church. You are one of the many parts of the church body. Whether you're a hand, an ear, an eye, a head, or feet, all of those are mentioned in the verses after what we just read. You're part of the body. In fact, even the less honorable parts get special honor because everyone has a part to play that all the rest rely on. God created the church because he wants us to work together and grow together. And there are so many examples of this in life. Whether you're on a sports team, different positions, coaches, backup players, trainers, when they work all together, they can be winners. Whether it's an orchestra, all these different instruments, which by themselves sound great, but you put them all together and it's this beautiful music. Or a company, executives and managers and R&D scientists. You have workers, human resources, accountants, so many, and they all have to come together to help make that company successful and profitable. There are so many areas of our lives where we live in a community with other people, and it's not always easy. The ones that do well, by working together, do well to achieve their goals. You know, there are often problems, conflict, drama, disappointment, frustration, but there are also times of joy and fun, peace, camaraderie, support, and love. And working together is always better, a better way to achieve your goal. One of the greatest gifts God has given us is the opportunity to love others. True love is shown when it is a gift, when that love isn't deserved or owed, when you love through grace and mercy and forgiveness. That is the gospel. And that is the heartbeat of the church, to show one another the love of Christ, to encourage one another to love as Christ has loved us. Some of you would love to play on the Mavericks basketball team and try to win a championship, or maybe it's the Olympic team to earn a gold medal, or work for an elite tech company like Tesla or Google to earn a ton of money and make amazing technology. So why wouldn't you want to be part of God's created church, the church which God uses to release the power of his love and grace and mercy into the world? There is no better team, no better company, organization, or group than the one built on Christ. So, don't give up meeting together. Hebrews 10:25 tells us that. Don't give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but keep on encouraging one another. You know, let's be honest. This past year has been just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But it's kind of given us a little excuse to be lazy, this whole pandemic. And it's a great excuse. Some of you are busy with school or extracurriculars. Hey, that's a great excuse too. And I understand there's all kinds of reasons. But when you stop meeting together as a church, you've disconnected from the body of Christ. And it will have an effect on you for the rest of your life. So if you've been missing from church for a while, please, would you pray and ask God, hey, is it time for me to get back? Is it time for me to get plugged into the body of Christ, the bride of Christ? And if you know someone who's been missing from church, you know, one of the things that I've heard repeatedly over these last couple months from youth is just how good it is to be able to meet together in person. But some of us are missing. And, one of the things I've heard repeatedly from youth over the last couple months is how good it is to meet together in person, to worship at the church service, to attend Bible study together, to just hang out after church with friends, to come to some of our group events like the picnic. But there are tons of us missing. They're not in our virtual Bible studies. They're not in our in-person Bible studies. So not only should you be committed to God's church, but you should be encouraging other youth to come as well. Reach out to them with love and grace, but also with the truth that God created the church to be together, made up of many different parts. And when the church is missing even one tiny part, it is incomplete and it's hurting. GHC is incomplete without you. So let God strengthen you and heal you as you find your place in the body of the church. Well, GHC, I hope you have a blessed week, and I hope to see you soon.